What's up? It's your boy Carceno here. Let's talk about it. Now, I know many of you heard, or you probably haven't heard it because it's joke no joke, but I think quite a few people did see it. It wasn't kind of, I think some news people picked it up. Choke no joke, who I don't really see eye to eye with because of some dumb stuff that he did, but he decided it would be in his best interest to do an interview with Marquise, 50 Cent's son, his first child. And once he did the interview, you can tell it went in a different way than what they were supposed to do. So it was pretty different, you know. Um, it's a pretty different situation, and because it was a pretty different situation, there was a lot of people who didn't understand the process of what was going on. You know, I just gotta looking at something on my text that was crazy. But you listen to Marquise. Kwame brought it to my attention when I saw his video he did earlier about the subject. And I was like, wow, in the live stream, that's what made me go over there and check it out. And man, he sounds so spoiled. And I remember when he said the words he was saying, and I'm like, man, he gonna regret that. Because you always blame the person who ain't around. You always want to know why dad ain't here, especially if you're young and things are happening around you that you don't really know or understand. You're only getting the one side of the perspective from the person you're with every day. You see them every day. So you feel like F the person who ain't here, they ain't helping me, they ain't doing this, they ain't doing that. When in reality, the situation is a lot different and deeper than what people know. But you could tell from their dialogue of tone, like it's different. And it's a sense of entitlement that you could feel oozing out of the pores of Marquise as he talks. And he sounds just like his mother. I mean, he sounds just like her. And you might be like, man, you don't know his mother. How you know what his mother sounds like? Because I heard her speak. I heard her talk for years. She's done interviews. This is how she sounds. And just to give you guys an example of what I'm talking about, so you can have a understanding clearly, listen to 50 Cent talk to his baby moms. Listen to this. Outlaw, we think VV stunt, I stunt ain't got what I got. My watch, that's my sweat. Look at this, right? What's good? I'm having more issues with my son's mother. Holy shit. Put the music down. Yeah, you live on the radio. Yes, you are. Now tell him how you told my son to call me and tell me he need 50 pairs of sneakers for back to school. I did not say that. I did not say that. You said he said somebody else got a whole bunch of pairs of sneakers. I said he said a boy in his class started on him and said he had 50 pairs of sneakers. And Marquise said, how the hell did he have 50 pairs of sneakers? And his father's a lawyer. My dad's on the Forbes list. That's exactly. Yeah, then why you didn't be a responsible parent and say, look, you don't need 50 pairs of shoes.
20 pairs of sneakers. I don't have kids, so I can't comment. I'm sorry, boss. Alright, everybody just heard you.
Now, as you can see, that's the mindset. That right there gave you a prime example of the mindset that is teaching the child. You see that? Some kid at school told him he got 50 pairs of shoes and was like, I got 50 pairs of shoes. Your dad is 50 Cent. Why don't you have 50 pairs of shoes? And Marquise saying his dad's a lawyer and my dad's on the Forbes list. Why don't I have 50 pairs of shoes? Of course, this is when he was younger. And Fifth just asked it as you heard. Why wouldn't you be the responsible one and tell him other than? Right? She said, I told him, well, 50 is a lot, but 20 pairs of shoes, that should be suffice. So he needs 20 pairs of gym shoes. This is a grammar school kid. He needs 20 pairs of gym shoes to go to school. I'd be like, are you stoned? Are you out your mind? 20 pairs of shoes. Now, that just sets the tone of how the child was being raised in the household. You know, now you get a picture of what it was like. But those two started to have a falling out. That was back when they were in, the right state of mind. She made a lot more money at that time. He was paying her like $500,000 a year. Like he was just giving her crazy amount of money just to take care of Marquise. Bought a house for them to live in so he could go to school in a good school district. So they were in a good space. Then all hell broke loose. She let a friend of hers, they watched what this lady watched this husband have to settle out of court when she filed for child support and a divorce. They were married. So it was a whole different type of case. And when she got some money from another deal and everything else, the husband had to settle with more money for her. So her friend, who has no attachment to the situation whatsoever, except for she's the friend of 50 Cent's baby mother, comes and gives her bad advice. And tell her, girl, I saw that and you take him in there and you soon, the judge is going to go in your favor. So instead of doing that, 50 tried to talk her out of it and told her, you don't know what you're talking about. That's an entirely different case, different scenario. We're not in the same boat, which was true. They weren't in the same boat at all. Completely two different sides of the boat. So now,
Emmy award-winning journalist.
Sorry about that. Somebody's sending me something. So now she decides she wants to get child support and gonna sue 50 Cent. 50 Cent goes and takes himself to court, puts child support on himself, and the judge is paying her significantly less than what she thought she was going to be receiving. So she got $6,700 a month, I believe, when it was all said and done. Now she feels like an idiot. So now she's making all these decisions for 50 Cent, just making it hard on him. It was incredibly crazy at the time. But this was a lot of what women had to do, or when they felt scorned to see 50 Cent out there with Sierra and the relationship ain't working. She's like, I left. She left because the situation no longer fit her comfort level. She felt like, okay, this is it. I'm only gonna get this child support and this and that, or I'm gonna leave, and then he gonna want me back enough he gonna have to come back and get me, but then he gonna have to do right by me and break me off. Now, what 50 did miss, and the reason why he did keep calling her in contact, because they knew each other. Like, she know that's like an old friend who grew up with you. He knew her. It's like, you knew me as a kid. Like, you know me. So if you know me, then we should never be in this situation. Me and you should never be in this type of situation ever. There should never be any drama between us. Because it doesn't make any sense for us to be in conflict. There's nothing that's really holding us to ever have a conflict with one another. So in his mind, I don't even see what the problem is. Like, okay, we could just communicate, but she want to argue and start an argument. But every time she changed her role and then said, we don't want nothing to do with you, leave us alone. Then there's always another, Marquise need that, you need this. So he paid the child support until it was over and told her, okay, now you got to go get a job. So he better start stripping or something because it's over. So she do what most women do, turn the son against the father and say, look, we supposed to be living in that house. That's supposed to be your stuff and all that. But he out there doing that with his other baby mama and all this stuff. He doing all this and doing this, and you ain't getting nothing out of it. Your father don't like you. He don't love you. And turning the son and building him into a weapon against his father. Because she bitter. All over success and money. So what's next for the mother? What's her next big play? What's her next big move? Isn't it obvious? Try to turn the son into a star and eat off him. Somebody's got to keep money coming in for her. So now I done turned the son into a weapon, and since his father's famous, he's gonna be famous too, like his father. I'm gonna get him to rap and rap against his father, and then yeah, we're gonna be all right. We're gonna team up with everybody that hate the father, and then we're gonna get put on, and then the father gonna be put off. But here's the problem. Y'all don't have any connections like 50 have in the industry or the business. He can make things very uncomfortable for you guys in this industry, especially entertainment. Like, she tried to do like one of those love and hip hop shows, and 50 canceled that. You ain't finna just go out there and say what you want about me and eat doing that. Sorry. You cut that off. You're gonna have to find another way to get paid. So Marquise and him, they were supposed to come over. Like he said, she was giving him the wrong dates and 50 have things that he has to do, like other engagements that he has to, actually to look out for and participate in. So while he's doing all this participating, you see he's got a schedule. He's got assistants that has to keep up with his schedule to make sure, okay, he's doing this on this date, that date, and this date. So let me know where you can fit in on the schedule. So all of a sudden, you have all these new issues and new problems that kicked off. Sorry about that. Somebody said something about COVID. Somebody called COVID that I know. Now, the problem is most people don't seem to understand the actual blowback, the fallout, the the situations. They always change, and they're never changing for the better. They always change for the worse. So Marquise and him has a falling out when he's like a 15-year-old kid. He decides to, text with his father and was saying how much he hate him and all these things. And he told him, all right, you're making a decision, boy. You shouldn't be doing. And that's why I always say, man, I was like, I would never talk to my father like that to his face because I know my father would kill me. It would take me off this earth if I ever was to disrespect him in such a way. I'm aware of that. But as a kid, you pretty much are unaware of the scenarios. You're unaware of situations. You're unaware of a lot of things. So you don't have the knowledge or the know-how or knowing how all of this stuff really works and fit in together with one another. How it intertwines, in other words. So you don't know about life yet. And 50's trying to tell him, you're going to regret this. you know. So he tells him, all right, you feel like you could talk to me like that, then lose my number. We done. I got another son. I don't need you. And when you see 50 post stuff with his son and post all these pictures playing with him, taking him there, buying him stuff, he's doing it to, this is really a double entendre. It's like, oh, that's nice. Look what 50's doing. 50 ain't doing that because it's nice. 50 is doing that to rub that in their face. You got to understand who 50 is and what he is. He was doing that to rub that in their face. It's like, look how I'm treating my new son. I don't need you no more. Because he knows that hurts deep down in the heart to the son and to the mother. She gets to see because they're caught into the fame and the vanity. And if you listen to him talk now, he sounds entitled after saying after his graduation and 50 Cent didn't show up. And 50 said, I wasn't even given information about the graduation. But they said, don't ever speak to him again. They don't want to see me. So he was like, I don't need nothing from my father. He ain't got to talk to me no more. Now he sounds like a person that wants something from his father. So it's a shame because out of all his children, this is the one that looks exactly like him. I'm like, your son looks exactly like you to the core. He has a lot of your traits, but he has this sense of entitlement that he gets from his mother. And you was around him till he was like 10. And once after that, the disconnect, the drive, And a lot of people was like, well, I don't have kids. You can't talk about it till you got kids. And I've seen it happen. Seen this happen with people who ain't celebrities because they got a good job with benefits. Shoot, you a lotto ticket to these women, and it don't matter what the mama doing. The mama ain't on nothing, but daddy shouldn't have laid down with her. I'm like, shoot, dad used to meet her at the club, hit her on the weekends, and next thing you know, she gets pregnant, and he was like, look, I don't know if that's mine or somebody else's, which she didn't even know. So she didn't even tell him until after she had the baby, and after the baby was about maybe 2 when she told him, because the baby looked just like him. So I felt bad, like, man, he got, she basically played him. She was only in it for the money. She need that extra money so she can go out and hoe around and get another baby or do whatever it is she do. But I seen how the games that they play, and they know how to go to the legal system and get the paperwork and get all these things done so that they can go and file for all this support, paperwork, whatever. And then they had you in a trick bag. Now, it's a lot of people out there that don't seem to understand that 50 Cent, even though he's a celebrity and all that, he's a father just like anybody else. And the law don't bend just because someone's a celebrity. They just have enough money to get better lawyers, and make situations difficult. So because he has stature, it doesn't change the law. So when he was able to put himself on child support, it was the same thing that happened to my friend. She wanted to get child support and have that money coming in, and it was a good thing for him because he was like, this is great because now I understand this completely. I don't have to worry about none of this no more. Like, I don't need to worry about none of this crap no more. Because now, instead of just giving her money and buying her diapers and all this stuff and saving receipts, I was willing to give way more money than what the court said. Well, this is what we say you got to pay a month for child support. He was like, that's it? Like, oh, okay. Bam. Check. Take it out of my check. Boom, it's done. Every week or month or whatever the month, there it is. That money's coming. I'm willing to live with that. You just effed up. Because he told her, your plan, you would have got more out of me if you'd have just worked with me. But you were so greedy and like, nah, because he could just bail. And instead of having him more into his child's life, you chose money. So now money runs out. Then what? And now you victimize a child and kept them away from their father for so long. And, and then, you brainwash the child, and the child be, why didn't you come looking for me? I'm still your child. It's like, your mother made it difficult. She'll move, change addresses. They go and get all these unnecessary things like, oh, they need braces. They need this dental work. They need money for that. It just don't stop with the child support. It's going to come with every little thing they could squeeze you with to get a check. Because they don't want to go away. Especially if they know you're going to just pay. If you somebody to go to court and fight it in litigations, they have a little bit more hesitance when it's coming after you. But you get somebody that just want to pay for it to go away, oh, they're going to always find a way to keep coming back in your life. And what happens is you ruin a good person. a good man, and somebody who wanted to do the right thing. You ruin that person and make them bitter and not even like you or anybody, period. They have trust issues. So they grow up or they go through life saying, like, why do I want to tie myself to this woman who mother gonna teach her how to go to court to rip me off? Then turn the child against me. Then you're gonna end up doing what? Turning that child into another situation, another baby mama, and everybody gonna be stuck right back in the same scenario. None of it make any sense. But this is the life we're leading right now. This is what everybody get to see. It's played out in front of the world. Every time you look around, there's a new situation, a new case, a new test study. Who gonna be the new person to screw up this year? What celebrity's gonna blow it? Floyd Mayweather was gonna put himself on child support because his baby mother wanted to do the same type of thing to him. After he was paying for the house she was living in, which was $1 million house, paying her astronomical amount of money. See, Floyd is the type that people don't realize he has a really good heart. And he pays way more than he should for things. Because he rarely, just like Michael Jackson, they don't really know the cost of things. So Michael Jackson never knew the value of what something was because he just would point and say, I want this, 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 and this. So he never really had to handle money or make a transaction. Probably since a child, like 7, maybe 8 years old, everything else was always given to him. So Michael Jackson probably never knew how much money he actually had. Because all he had to do was go and point at something and it was his. Floyd Mayweather, same way. All he had to do was request something and it was done. But he never knew, like when he tipped, he would tip out $100 bill. I'd give him $100 tip just for helping with bags when people would be giving like a 10 or a 20. And, he'd give them 100. Just like, here's 100. Here's $100. Because he's like, okay, great. The gratitude is there. He was tipping everybody around him because they was like, man, this guy is really nice, but he just didn't know the value of what he should be tipping. He just didn't know. So when it came to taking care of his kids, he just would overpay just to, so everybody would be cool and cordial. He has 3 kids with one of his baby mothers, and his other baby mother has never complained. And she's lived with him, lived in one of his houses, and she did her own thing, and they split up, but still, they do their thing. She was never a problem. But when you get friends who give you bad advice and get you to go into situations and talking about things that you shouldn't be talking about, and this is the results of that. You know, Marquise is just like, he sounds entitled, bruh. And because he sounds entitled, he's in a situation where this is gonna it's gonna probably blow up in his face. Listen to Fifth.
That you and Eminem talk about your kids. Where are you and Marquise at right now? How's your relationship with?
I don't have a relationship with
at all whatsoever.
No, it's an unfortunate situation that all I can think of is the entitlement being filtered, right? So yeah, imagine how do you make a privileged child feel deprived or angry? Like big you see, when he comes into his own and he starts to have interest in his identity because he's attracted to women at that point, or attracted to men. I don't know what's going on, you know. But when that happens, there's you start picking things. You start picking your clothes. You start picking. I need these. Specifically, these Jordans are not the new ones that's on the shelf, but the retro ones, right? And yeah, imagine your mom going, "All right, I figured out how to get them for you, but it just bothers me because your father, you're supposed to have them all."
Right.
And then every time you get what you ask for, all you can think of is how many other colorways they made that you don't have, and your dad don't want you to have. And over time, that programming will make over and over. And you gotta look and say, my grandfather, will look and say, if it rattled like a snake and it's little like a snake, is it a snake, or do you need to be big?
Would you ever
And
be?
it's because you keep seeing the boy show up with people that I'm having differences with. And it feels like people make a common bond on disliking someone. Like they'll go and be friends with someone that is upset with them because they're upset with them. Like, and they're showing you that he feels like I'm his enemy instead of, you know.
When's the last time y'all talked?
We don't talk.
Why at all?
But this is by choice. I've been places where gone places where he was at.
And how old is he now?
21.
22.
Wow. All grown.
Do you ever
Yeah,
see?
there's no support, nothing going on now. So it's cool. Like now for you to feel the real world is different because you've been living on an artificial economy of me. You know, so you start to it'll open your eyes, trust me.
Do you ever see you guys talking again or repairing that relationship?
I'm
Is
not
that possible?
sure. I'm not sure how you can repair something that it's the same thing I said about game every time we talk about it. 'Cause if I didn't motivate it, I'm not sure I can resolve it. You know what I'm saying? You can attempt to, like there's points that I've gone places where he was at and he left those places. You know what I'm saying? And I think it's because his connection to his mom. Like, look, a female child, the first man they fall in love with is their dad. You know,
Right.
for the male child, it's the
mom.
polar opposite. His mom. It's like, no matter how cool or tight they are with their dad, they fall in love with mom. It's just instinctively. I think it's something internal.
So you've always noticed that. Like they say, daddy's girl, mama's boy. You always see that scenario play out. Now, the problem is these scenarios go to the extreme. It gets so extreme to everyone around just shuts down. But you always gonna be needed. Time is the biggest teller of everything. I'm not saying 50 is the winner, 50 did this, he did that. It's gonna hurt it hurts him too. It bothers him that his son thinks of him like that and say that about him. It bothers him. Because deep down he loves his son. He loves him. And the older he gets, he doesn't want that energy to be out there. Hate for him. So that's the way, I see it and how it's played out so far. Y'all could see it a little differently, but that's the way it's like played out for me. I was able to see that. His mother have a whole different approach to it, but his tone, his sense of entitlement, spoiledness that he was having to choke, he's basically saying that felt like he's owed something. Like, you don't know what it feels like, coming from, a 16 bedroom house, I was accustomed to a lifestyle. That's something the mother said, and I heard her say that before. All the stuff he was saying, it was stuff that came out of his mother's mouth. I was accustomed to a lifestyle, and then you just took that away. It's like, so you gotta keep me accustomed to a lifestyle. It's like, huh? Y'all were not married. So, that common law thing is a little weak to prove now in today's times. It's not like it used to be. So the situations always turn, and people never get to see the full story anymore, you know. But we'll see. It is what it is. I'm gonna get out of here. Want everybody to hit the like button, subscribe to the page, hit the notification bell. I appreciate everybody who came by. Hit my Cash App up. It's all on the banner. You want to follow the Patreon and get into other things, which we're gonna do today. So the Shaquille O'Neal thing was a shock to y'all. I know, I understand it, but we'll get into more. That should work out better. We'll get into more. I'll tell you later.